All eyes were on ROSMAH today as she was sentenced to 10 years in jail for corruption charges, and Special Advisor to the Prime Minister tendered her resignation. Those are the headlines for tonight. Good evening, everyone. You're with me, FACELIFT, and this is Tvs Nightline. We begin with the top story for today. Just over a week after the former Prime Minister Dato Sri Najib Razak was jailed after Kuala Lumpur High Court affirmed his corruption conviction, today the High Court convicted his wife, Datin Sri ROSMAH Mansor, of corruption in connection with a solar hybrid project for 369 rural schools in Sarawak worth 1.25 billion ringgit. Today, our editor Firdaus Ismail was at the High Court to cover the hearing. Here's a bit from earlier.
Thank you, studio. Datin Sri ROSMAH Mansor, the wife of former Prime Minister Dato Sri Najib Razak, was found guilty by Malaysia High Court of soliciting a total of 194 million ringgit in bribes to help solar energy firm Jepat Holdings secure a 1.25 billion ringgit solar hybrid project for 369 schools in Sarawak in 2016. Judge Zaini Mazlan ruled that the prosecution have proven its case beyond a reasonable doubt. ROSMAH was charged with soliciting 18.75 million ringgit and receiving bribes amounting to 6.5 million ringgit. She was charged under Section 16(a) of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commissioner Act and faced imprisonment up to 20 years and a fine of no less than 5 times the amount of the gratification, or 10,000 ringgit. The security here has been heightened during the proceeding, in which only media with special pass were allowed in, with reasoning that it was a high-profile case. Earlier to Thursday, ROSMAH failed to get Judge Zaini recused from the case, arguing that a judgment on it was alleged leaked and posted online last week. I was told that the court will hear mitigation on sentence by ROSMAH lawyer Jagit Singh and Akberdin Abdul Kadir. That's all the update I have from Kuala Lumpur. Firdaus Ismail reporting from Kuala Lumpur.
Pengerang MP Dato Sri AZALINA Othman Said has tendered her resignation letter as the Special Advisor, Law and Human Rights to the Prime Minister dated August 29. The Prime Minister's office in a statement today said Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob has accepted her resignation with a month's notice as mentioned in the letter. The Prime Minister expressed his gratitude and appreciation for her service. AZALINA was appointed to the post on October 2, 2021. And before that, on August 23rd of the same year, AZALINA resigned as the Deputy Speaker of Dewan Rakyat. SK Ulu Segan in Bintulu is finally restored through the financial assistance given by the Sarawak State Government, amounting to a total of 26,000 ringgit. Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, said the school now provides for a safe and conducive learning environment for its students.
Walaupun pendidikan ini di bawah kerajaan pusat, tetapi memandang kepada anak-anak kita yang harus diberi kemudahan yang selesa untuk mereka belajar tanpa terjejas oleh banjir, dan juga memberi kemudahan kepada guru kita, cikgu-cikgu kita yang mengajar dalam keadaan yang lebih selesa. Saya buat keputusan tidak dapat menembus kerjaan pusat, biarlah kerjaan negeri membangun sekolah bagus.
He told this to reporters at a press conference after a work visit in Bintulu on Thursday. Furthermore, he disclosed that the areas surrounding the school are prone to flooding during the rainy season, and its poor infrastructure led to the proposal in restoring the school. He also expressed his gratitude to the state's Education Department and the Northern Public Works Department for the completion of SK Ulu Segan. Sarawak is committed to create a truly sustainable tourism industry that makes a positive and enduring contribution to the region, thus making Sarawak the leading destination for ecotourism and business events in the ASEAN region by 2030. In delivering this, the industry must grow and delivers high-quality experiences for both domestic and international visitors while having a positive impact on local communities and protecting the natural environment, as well as rebuilding economic sustainability.
The Sarawak's aspiration by 2030 is to make Sarawak a leading destination for ecotourism and business events in the ASEAN region, driven by empowered communities to conserve heritage, culture, and biodiversity, as well as to promote investment and development through responsible action. Abang Johari highlighted this when addressing the opening of the International Conference on Responsible Tourism and Hospitality ICRTH 2022 at UCSI Hotel on Thursday, September 1st. As such, he said the conference demonstrates Sarawak's strong intentions to join the global tourism community in advocating sustainable development goals (SDGs) in a local context and taking collective actions to future-proof tourism for many years to come. Previously, ICRTH was first organized in May 2021 with the aim of sustaining and regenerating tourism through responsible tourism initiatives.
Express bus service from Kuching to Pontianak will resume its operations soon. Sarawak's State Transport Minister, Dato' Sri Lee Kim Shin, said currently 2 bus companies have been granted permits to operate return trips from Kuching to Pontianak.
Kita pun bersetuju, ya, kita bermula dengan 5 kali seminggu dahulu, iaitu dari Pontianak ke Kuching, Kuching ke Pontianak. Dari Pontianak, syarikat yang telah diluluskan ialah Damri, dan dari Kuching ialah Biaramas.
At the same time, he urged bus operators to adhere strictly to the standard operating procedures despite the relaxation of allowing tourists into the state. He further stressed that bus drivers are not allowed to pick up random passengers throughout the service.
Kita ada peraturan. Jadi ini perkhidmatan baik, ya, pengusahanya mesti mematuhi peraturannya. Misalnya bas ini tak boleh mengambil penumpang semua di tengah-tengah jalan, tak boleh berhenti. Dia ekspres dari Pontianak terus ke Kuching, Kuching terus ke Pontianak. Ini ekspres bas, tak boleh mengambil penumpang tengah-tengah jalan.
He said this after launching the reopening of the express bus service between Pontianak and Kuching at the Tebadu Immigration and Customs Quarantine Station ICQS on Thursday. Also present at the event was First Deputy Minister of Transport, Dato' Dr. Jarib Susil. The Ministry of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts will look into the issue of ticket price disparity for entry to Borneo Cultures Museum. Its Minister, Dato' Sri Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah, said while the price tag between Sarawakans and non-Sarawakan Malaysians into the museum were minimal, the issue has been debated on social media.
We are taking notice of that. We will be looking into it. I do somehow can see, even though the disparity between West Malaysian and Sarawakans is not very big, but then sometimes I feel as Malaysian probably we might need to have a look into it. But probably those that come up with that proposal, they might have seen how Sarawak Cultural Village was done before this. There was no issue about it. But then since it has been debated, I think we will have a deep look into it.
On Tuesday, a visitor took to Twitter to air his frustration over the price difference in entry for Sarawakans and other Malaysians. For reference, entry price for adults aged between 18 and 60 is 10 ringgit for Sarawakian and 20 ringgit for Malaysian but non-Sarawakian, and 5 ringgit each for Sarawakian senior citizens aged 61 and above, and 10 ringgit for its Malaysian but non-Sarawakian counterparts. Earlier, Karim was met at a What About Kuching 2022 calendar reveal at the Old Courthouse. With over 185 unique events spread across 34 different locations in Kuching throughout the month of October, Karim said the event will enliven Sarawak's tourist calendar, and alongside other events such as the International Dragon Boat Race and Kuching Jazz Festival. With activities such as outdoor movie screening, knitting installation, and immersive theatre, What About Kuching 2022 is targeting to achieve a 300,000 footfall in audience attendance this year. Limbang will be well connected to other parts statewide, with 3 road mega projects that are underway under the federal government. Deputy Minister of Modernisation of Agriculture and Regional Development, Dr. Abdul Rahman Ismail, said such projects are necessary to boost the people's socio-economic status in Limbang. He said that the federal government has spent a total of 7 billion ringgit for the Sarawak-Sabah Link Road. Abdul Rahman said the Sarawak Link Road will be the catalyst to develop hinterland and rural parts of Limbang and Lawas, apart from complementing the coastal highway development.
Yang pertamanya yang selalu menjadi permintaan daripada rakyat adalah jalan yang menghubungkan Limbang kepada Miri dan juga kepada Lawas tanpa melalui negara Brunei Darussalam. Projek ini dinamakan SSLR, Sabah Sarawak Link Road, yang mana fasa pertama dah bermula di Lawas, dan fasa kedua menghubungkan Lawas ke Limbang dan Limbang ke Miri sudah dilulus dalam masa ini dalam design stage, dan ianya telah diumumkan oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri dimulakan pada tahun depan dengan kos memakan belanja yang begitu besar, keseluruhannya 7 bilion ringgit, dan dijangka siap dalam tempoh 5 tahun, lebih kurang tahun 2028. Sabah Sarawak Link Road.
Abdul Rahman, who is also Bukit Kota Assemblyman, said that the state government is currently developing the Northern Coastal Highway, expected to begin early next year.
Dan satu lagi projek dinamakan Northern Coastal Highway ataupun lebuh raya pesisir utara. Ini di bawah kerajaan negeri. Kerajaan negeri ini pun dalam reka bentuk dan juga proses pengambilan tanah. Jadi ini lebuh raya ini akan melintasi di pesisir batang sungai ini, termasuk di Kampung Gadong, yang akan keluar daripada jambatan kedua Sungai Limbang. Dan dalam Northern Coastal Highway ini akan meliputi 2 buah jambatan lagi. Jadi bila siap nanti di Sungai Limbang ini akan ada 4 ataupun 5 jambatan, 4 di kawasan di bawah dan 1 di kawasan Medani. Jadi projek ini insya-Allah dijangka bermula juga pada tahun depan, dan untuk membina jalan memakan masa. Jadi saya yakinlah menjelang tahun 2030 rangkaian jalan raya di Limbang akan lengkap. Begitu juga akan disusuli oleh pengguna asas yang lain.
The proposed 88 kilometers road will connect the remaining Pan-Borneo Highway Sarawak stretch through Limbang, Lawas, Brunei and Sabah, reducing travelling time with the presence of better infrastructures. Deputy Minister of Energy and Environmental Sustainability, Dr. Hazlan Abang Hipni, paid a courtesy call to Minister of Environment and Water, Datuk Mansor Othman, to discuss matters pertaining to the devolution of Sarawak Environmental Authority to be handed over in stages on Thursday. Other matters discussed included various initiatives and related information about environmental management in Sarawak, such as climate change, economic cycle, carbon markets, and renewable energy, namely hydropower, hydrogen, and solar energy.
Dr. Hazlan and his entourage were then taken on a tour of the Environmental Data Center EDC, which is located in the Department of Environment, JAS Wisma Subah Asli. JAS officers briefed Dr. Hazlan on the operation and monitoring of the air, river, marine, water, and land pollution. Also present were CASA Environmental Management Division Secretary Jamalulail Abu Bakar and officials from the Natural Resources and Environment Board and REB Sarawak.
Still to come, Malaysia introduces premium visa to attract wealthy foreigners and further price reduction on bottled cooking oil. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. You're watching TVS Nightline. Now, Malaysia has introduced a premium visa program, or PVIP, to attract wealthy foreigners to invest and reside in the country for a period of 20 years. Home Minister Dato Sri Hamzah Zainuddin said the program is the first of its kind introduced by the government in efforts to drive the country's economic growth, and it will be open for applications from October 1st, 2022. The Residency Through Investment program is offered to business tycoons from all countries except those that did not have diplomatic ties with Malaysia. Among the benefits are in the form of visa approval for up to 20 years, permission to study, permission to purchase real estate for residential, commercial or industrial purposes, and make active investments in permitted fields. The ministry had set a control policy, including the introduction of a ceiling on the number of participants to not exceed 1% of the total number of Malaysian citizens. This is to ensure that the PVIP did not undermine national security and the country's sovereignty. The program is open to all participants of all age categories with proof of having an offshore income of at least 40,000 ringgit per month or 480,000 ringgit annually. The ministry is targeting at least 1,000 participants in the first year of the program, which would provide an estimated 200 million ringgit in revenue to the country, as well as 1 billion ringgit in fixed savings. The government on Thursday announced further reduction on the ceiling price of a 5-kilogram bottled cooking oil from 34 ringgit 70 cent to 33 ringgit 50 cent from September 8th to October 7th. Special Task Force Against Inflation Chairman Tan Sri Anwar Musa said the reduction is based on the price of crude palm oil or CPO in August, which was 4,169 ringgit per metric ton. According to Anwar, cooking oil sold in 3-kilogram bottles will be reduced to 21 ringgit and 10 cent from 21 ringgit 70 cent previously, while 2-kilogram bottles from 14 ringgit 70 cent to 14 ringgit 30 cent and 1-kilogram bottles from 7 ringgit 70 cent to 7 ringgit 50 cent. Additionally, he said the committee took into account the recommendations made by the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs (KPD and HEP) to lower the price of bottled cooking oil.
Kita telah menyatakan harga minyak sawit botol ini akan diumumkan pada tiap-tiap 1 hari bulan, termasuk pada hari ini, berdasarkan kepada harga CPO pada bulan sebelumnya, dalam konteks ini bulan Ogos. Jadi untuk bulan Ogos, kita terdapat kenaikan sedikit daripada dulunya 4,060 kepada 4,170. Jadi ada kenaikan 110.
Anwar said a study by the Department of Statistics Malaysia showed that 15 aspects had a high probability of contributing to inflation, including rent payment, RON 95 petrol, electricity bills, price of fresh chicken, as well as vehicle insurance. Anwar said that although the national inflation rate increased by 4.4% to 127.9 in July this year, compared to 122.5 in July 2021, the rate was still under control and Malaysia still maintained its position as a country with low inflation rate. The business events industry is capable of attracting 9.2 million tourist arrivals with 26.8 billion ringgit in tourism receipts this year. Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Dato' Sri Nancy Shukri is confident that Malaysia can achieve the target, with 79 business events already planned in the second half of the year.
The events include the Malaysia Business Events Week and World Tourism Conference in Sabah. In addition, aggressive efforts are undertaken to increase tourist arrivals from India and Brunei. Nancy also said Malaysia is looking forward to China's border reopening in October because China is the highest international tourist contributor to Malaysia so far. She also noted that the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture is optimistic about achieving higher numbers of tourist arrivals, especially if the country is easing COVID-19 standard operating procedures. Nancy pointed out that the country has surpassed the initial target of 2 million international tourist arrivals since its reopening of borders in April, with 8.6 billion ringgit in tourism receipts. Thus, she said the ministry revised the target to now welcome 9.2 million international tourists this year.
Welcome back. The Tomatina Food Fight Festival returned on Wednesday in the eastern Spanish town of Buñol after a 2-year break due to the pandemic, with thousands of unbridled revelers hurling 130 tons of overripe tomatoes. Around 15,000 people fought splattering the food on each other, leaving a red pool of crushed tomatoes in Bunyol's main street where the action happens.
The Tomatina 75th edition started at midday after a firecracker was set off, giving the signal to 6 trucks loaded with tomatoes to drive through the main street, distributing the sappy projectiles for an hour while partygoers threw them and covered each other in red juice.
I want to tell to everyone that everyone from each part of the country, please come here. It's so diverse culture. I met so many people from other countries. We all loved it. We all danced together. We all played together. And I think this is the best time I spent in my whole year of this year. And after 2 years of COVID, this was amazing.
The Tomatina is said to have originated from a spontaneous bust-up among villagers in 1945.
Yeah, it was different than I expected. I didn't expect full tomato. It hurt, but it was so much fun and totally worth it.
It was banned for a while during the 1950s at the height of General Francisco Franco's dictatorship, but survived to gain popularity across Spain in the 1980s and today draw large crowds of visitors from abroad as well as Spaniards. Almost a decade ago, the organizers had to limit the capacity and started selling tickets as the festival became more popular and crowded.
And finally, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, on Wednesday authorized the retooled COVID-19 booster shots of both Moderna and Pfizer-BioNTech that target the currently dominant BA.4, BA.5 Omicron subvariants of the coronavirus. Both vaccines include the original version of the virus, targeted by all the previous COVID shots as the country prepares for another vaccination campaign in the fall season. At the same time, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Vaccine Advisory Panel is scheduled to meet on Thursday to make recommendations for the use of the redesigned shots that Director Rochelle Walensky will take into consideration before making a final decision.
The FDA authorized Moderna's vaccine for those aged 18 and above and Pfizer for those aged 12 and above to be given at least 2 months after the primary vaccination series or the most recent booster shot. The U.S. government has secured 105 million doses of Pfizer updated shots and 66 million doses of Moderna's bivalent vaccine to stave off the worst effects of a likely surge in infection as schools reconvene and people spend more time indoors as the weather grows colder. Pfizer said it has some doses ready to ship immediately and can deliver up to 15 million doses by September 9. The FDA in June asked vaccine makers to tailor shots to the 2 subvariants responsible for the most recent surge in infections worldwide. The BA.5 subvariant accounts for more than 88% of U.S. infections. The vaccine makers have not completed testing of the updated BA.4 and BA.5 based boosters in humans. The FDA is basing its decision on safety and effectiveness data from the original shots as well as from clinical trials conducted on bivalent boosters during the BA.1 Omicron subvariant.
IT is a vast and ever-growing field, especially now in the era of digitalization. A fast-paced and rewarding career, it requires one to be adaptable and flexible. If a career in IT sounds interesting to you, then don't forget to tune in to Sejahtera Asia tomorrow, where host Alexson and Sharon Kezia will be speaking to IT executive Veronica Simakilat on the profession. Plus, they'll be joined by TikTok comedians Are Are and Zul Bali. 7:45 a.m. only on TVS Astro Channel 122 and My Free View. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news update, both locally and internationally, just a click away by heading on to our website at tvstv.my or follow us on our social media. And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. My name is Douglas Elliott. Thank you for watching.